I know there are players out there right now who are doing everything they're supposed to do. You're working your ass off, you have a great attitude, you're a good teammate, but for some reason you're still stuck. I know that feeling because I was that player. I made it to the D1 level and I now play professionally, but my journey was filled with invisible traps. Mistakes that had nothing to do with hard work or a bad attitude. These were the subtle, nuanced errors that were holding me back, and I see young hoopers falling into them every single day. So in this video, I'm not gonna tell you to work harder. I'm gonna share 10 real, honest mistakes I made in my journey to help you make the most out of yours. Over the last few years, I realized that probably the biggest mistake I made in high school was being too realistic. I convinced myself that playing in the NBA was impossible. For a long time, I even thought that getting a Division I offer was just a pipe dream. But since my freshman year of college, I've shared the court with Moses Moody, Santi Aldama, Donovan Mitchell, Jordan Clarkson, Peyton Pritchard, Steph Curry, and countless other NBA players. Not only did I share the court with those guys, I was able to really compete and hold my own. The truth is, the only thing being realistic is going to do is hold you back from your potential. Am I gonna play in the NBA one day? I don't know, but if I tell myself I won't, if I don't at least try, I'll always regret that. Great players have insane amounts of self-belief. They might even be seen as delusional, of course, until they accomplish what they said they would. So never put a ceiling on what you can be. Have big goals and dreams and make sure you're putting in the work to back it up. The margins are really slim. There are Division I capable players that don't make it because they just don't believe in their abilities. I almost fell into this trap and I don't want it to happen to any of you. Building off this point, I was a big culprit in high school of caring about what other people thought about me. I didn't fit in because while other kids were playing video games or going to parties or obsessing over girls, I was grinding. I was obsessed with this sport. And it might sound weird, but I know this is the case for the vast majority of hoopers who make it to the next level. And at times I let that bother me. I had the urge to just be normal and fit in. I want you to all promise me you won't be normal. I think my favorite quote of all time is, "Nobody cares, work harder." It's a harsh truth, but it's also freeing. At the end of the day, everyone is just worried about themselves, so be different. Off the court and on the court. I always felt like when I missed shots or turned the ball over, everyone was thinking about me, but they weren't. The quicker you realize this and embrace it, the better your chance of standing out. And to reach your goals, you must stand out. Okay, let's focus on more in-game stuff. What I didn't realize in high school is that every touch you get is an opportunity. Here's a good way to think about this. When Luka Doncic touches the ball in an NBA game, his first thought is always, how can I make a play? How can this lead to a scoring opportunity? And sometimes that means just throwing the extra pass to an open shooter. Sometimes it means holding it and getting a ball screen or shooting. It doesn't matter what you do, what matters is the intention. Now, I know you aren't Luka Doncic, but most of you go to public high schools where you have to be the best player on your team to play in college. If you're talented and putting in the work, you have to have this Luka mentality so that you can be successful, but also so that your team can be. I did a much better job with this my senior year when it was clear I was the best player on the team and had a chance to do something special. But if I could go back, I wouldn't take any touches for granted. They're precious, so you have to look at every one as a chance to make something happen. So if it's clear that every touch is valuable, then that means you need to create more touches for yourself. And on certain teams or certain situations, I'd find myself just out there running cardio. I'd play defense, and then when our team got a rebound, I'd immediately put my head down and sprint to the corner. Now, on paper, this is great. You're probably helping the spacing for your team and making it easier for everybody else. But I'm focused on you. When you get a rebound, look up. If someone is clearly ahead of you with an advantage, pass it up. But if not, that is a chance for you to make something happen. You can become the creator and start the break. When your big gets a rebound, you be the one to call for the outlet. If the other team scores, you be the one to meet the inbounder and bring it up. If every single time you just run to the corner, you're like a passenger hoping to get to that destination. Your teammates will become conditioned to believe that you can't dribble it up or make a play. The only way to change that reputation is to stop running cardio and become the driver. Go get the ball and decide where the offense is gonna go. By my senior year, even at 6'5" and the second tallest guy on my team, I was the point guard. I was the one bringing it up almost every possession, which became so important to my development. I've talked about this often, but my junior year of high school, when I got on a really high level AAU team, I quickly got labeled as the shooter. My job was to come into the game and just make shots. Now on that team, playing with Naz Reid and Lewis King and other high major players, this wasn't the worst thing in the world. That was an important, valuable role. But there are a few issues with being just the shooter, especially on your regular high school team. First off, if all you do is shoot threes, then you're a role player. And role players don't stand out. Most role players in the NBA were the best players on their college team. Most role players in college were the best players on their high school team. And most role players in high school, they get stuck. The second issue is that if you're just the shooter, then your confidence and self-worth is going to be wrapped up in if you made or missed shots. If you had a bad shooting game, then you'll think you played badly, and vice versa. And we want to get away from worrying about these results because they aren't in your control. So do more. Make plays for your teammates, attack closeouts, play in transition, create in ball screens. Continue to be aggressive with your shot, but don't let yourself be labeled as just the shooter. I trained really hard in high school, probably harder than anyone else I knew until I got to my prep school. And I saw the results of that work on the court, but I do wish I had played more one-on-ones when I was younger. Nowadays, I try to end almost every workout with some sort of live play. Whether it's against other pros or even just high school kids, I want to be able to try stuff I've been working on in a live situation. I wasn't really doing this in high school, and because of that, I feel like I didn't develop my isolation game. It's one of the few aspects of offense that I never really felt comfortable. Peyton Pritchard really made me realize the benefits of just having people guard you no matter what their level is. Yes, it's great to go against similar or even better players than you. It's competitive and it will push you out of your comfort zone, but also there is a lot of benefit in going against weaker players. I'll go against high school kids now and just focus on one thing. Maybe I want to work on my mid-range or my off-the-dribble threes. It allows me to get creative and, more importantly, focus on the skill of creating a shot for myself, so play more ones. I was a really good shooter in high school, definitely above average, but something I talk a lot about with my trainer Carrie, and we discussed it in my shot development video, is what it means to be a dynamic shooter. I could really cash out on standstill catch and shoots, and I was solid on simple off the dribble threes, like coming off a ball screen and the big doesn't step up. But I wish I had focused on becoming a more dynamic shooter, like being able to shoot off pin downs and flares, pulling in transition and isolation or off handoffs. I was never quite comfortable in most of these situations. So my advice to all of you, if you really want to separate yourself, is to become a more well-rounded shooter. Start with the basics like catch and shoots, and then add in other areas that will increase your value. If you can dribble down in transition and pull it from deep, you become so much more difficult to guard. Now the defense has to pick you up at half court, which will lead to so many more offensive opportunities. Basketball is all about creating advantages. If you can create advantages for yourself and your teammates because of your ability to shoot, now you become a dynamic offensive player. I'm so lucky that my mom filmed almost every single high school and AAU game of mine from my freshman year until I graduated high school. I use clips from those games in almost all of my videos, so I really don't even know how I'd be able to make content without it. The unfortunate thing is, at the time when I was in high school, I almost never took advantage of these. I hardly watched my games, and I didn't really even understand how to learn from film. It'd be like having access to every streaming service that exists and still not watching the classics. I mean, couldn't be me. Looking back at your games is one of the most valuable things you can do. A great example is tracking your touches. We talked earlier about making the most of your touches or creating more of them. Well, watching film is the best way to see how you can make that happen. So try and record your games. Maybe a parent or a friend can help you, or your coach already does it. Not only is it an incredible learning opportunity I wish I had taken advantage of, but it's also going to be really important in the recruiting process. And maybe one day, years after high school, you'll want to start making YouTube videos, and then it will come in handy. Okay, let's talk more about recruiting. If you know my story, you know I had no offers during my senior season. One of my future Colgate assistants, Dave Klatsky, saw me play at an AAU tournament at the end of my junior year, and they started recruiting me from then on. But I didn't actually get an offer from Colgate until the end of my senior year. Basically, although I was talking to some schools, no one was willing to take a chance on me until that point. And at that time, I thought if I was just good enough, then schools would find me. That recruitment and offers would just happen naturally. This just isn't true. You need to be your biggest advocate and ultra proactive in the recruitment process. You should be consistently reaching out to schools, doing research, and using every connection and relationship you have to your advantage. If you really have goals of playing in college, you also need to get on the same page as your high school coach. Tell them what you're trying to accomplish and have a conversation about how they can help you. When your coach is reaching out on your behalf, it means more. So make sure you're both working together to give yourself the best chance. Here's the last piece of advice I want to leave you with. You think you have a lot of time, but you don't. It feels like just yesterday I was a freshman in high school hearing from my coach that I was going to play JV, or a senior winning the sectional final for the first time in my school's history, or the first practice of my freshman year of college, and on and on. A great quote I love is that slowly is the fastest way to get where you want to be. Improvement takes time, it takes sacrifice, but at the same time, things go quickly, and this is your journey. I always felt like if I focused on me, on my goals, on my story, that I was selfish. But you're not. If you're putting in the work, and that's a big if, then you deserve to be more selfish. Actually, deserve isn't even the right word. You just need to do it. If you fall into the trap of playing too unselfishly or passively or invisibly, whatever you want to call it, you will get left behind. So take that tough shot, have that important conversation, step up in that big moment. I can give you all the advice and motivation in the world, but at the end of the day, it's on you to make it happen. So don't mess this up. You don't want to look back with any regrets. I hope you were able to take something from this video. It was actually a really fun one to make. By the way, our Unshakable Confidence course is going to be dropping soon, so if confidence is something you struggle with, check out this video's description for more info. We put a ton of time and effort into making it as valuable as possible, and I know it's something I wish I had when I was a younger hooper. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will talk to you soon.